Mr. Wyatt, will you describe to the best of your ability why you became involved with Jennifer Phillips, why you terminated the relationship, and what it was like after you returned to your wife?
Yes. Well, my wife and I were having marital problems. One night after a particularly unpleasant disagreement, I left the apartment and went to a bar. I ran into Jennifer Phillips. We had a conversation. She seemed to be lonely and unhappy. And, well, I guess I was a little too, so we started talked for quite a long time. That was the beginning. And a few nights later, I ran into her at the Hartford house. I'd been there with my wife, and we'd had another disagreement, and Jennifer asked me to go up to her apartment. I accepted the invitation.
And was that the beginning of your affair with Jennifer Phillips?
Yes.
How long did the affair last?
Oh, not very long. A little while after that, I took a trip to California on business, and she wanted to come with me. She was very persistent. And I guess I wanted her to go, so I let her come.
What happened when you returned from California?
My wife found out about my affair. Jennifer had lost an earring at the hotel, and she called the manager to see if he could find it. And that resulted in a letter to Mrs. John Wyatt at my address. My wife opened the letter and called the hotel, and she discovered the whole thing. It was then that she asked me to leave the apartment. That was the night I moved into the Hartford house. And it was a few nights after I was there, I think, the phone rang and Jennifer said that a man had broken into her apartment and tried to rape her. So I rushed over there as quickly as I could. She was hysterical. Her clothes were all torn. And the phone started to ring, and the caller always hung up. She was frightened. She asked me to spend the night. She was sure that the caller was the man who tried to rape her.
Did you believe her?
Oh, of course. I mean, she was very convincing. She was so convincing that she persuaded me to stay there, and I moved in.
Well, what then led to your breaking off with Jennifer Phillips?
I found out that the rape attempt was a lie.
How did you find this out?
When the police weren't successful in finding the man, I asked David Sutton to investigate. And he discovered through a conversation with Jennifer's stepmother, Mrs. Stephanie Pace, that Jennifer had lied, that it wasn't true at all, there was no rape.
What did you do then?
I moved out of her apartment and back to the Hartford house. I called my wife and asked her to take me back.
Did your wife take you back?
Well, we had a lot of talking to do. We had to see if it was worthwhile saving our marriage.
Was it?
Oh, yes. We reconciled, and we'd never been happier.
Did you have anything to do with Jennifer Phillips from that point on?
Never. Never. No, she wanted me to, but I didn't want any more to do.
Did you ever meet with Jennifer Phillips to plan the murder of your wife?
No. When my wife was shot, when Eunice was shot, when Jennifer confessed to the murder of my wife, I was shocked, angry. I mean, she had murdered my wife, and now she's trying to accuse me.
Why do you think she wants to accuse you?
Well, I don't know. I know she was angry when I moved out of her apartment and went back to my wife.
Mr. Wyatt, did you ever have anything to do with the murder of your wife?
Never. As God is my witness, I had nothing to do with the death of my wife.
edition of Search for Tomorrow has been brought to you by Crest, the cavity fighter. Stay tuned for As the World Turns 1/2 hour from now on. One of them was the same CBS stations. This program was recorded.